A distributed system is a collection of independent nodes, each maintaining a local state, communicating exclusively by exchanging messages over physical or virtual links. When a single database server is forced to handle the massive ingestion rates of modern applications, it eventually hits a physical wall. The disk I/O controller, no matter how advanced the solid-state drive, can only process a finite number of read and write operations per second. The historical answer to this problem was vertical scaling, buying a bigger, faster machine. But bigger machines are expensive and have strict performance ceilings. The alternative is horizontal scaling, running the database across multiple independent machines connected over a network, acting as a single logical entity. Moving to a horizontal model exposes severe bottlenecks. The first casualty is local storage. Legacy databases use mutable storage structures that update records in place, forcing the disk to perform slow, random seeks before writing. The illusion of a perfectly shared state shatters next. As soon as a database relies on a network, components will inevitably fail to communicate, instantly fracturing the system's consistency across different servers. To understand how modern data systems work, we have to rebuild them from the ground up. We will start at the microscopic level of local disk sectors and scale up to the macroscopic level of cluster consensus. Reliable distributed systems only function because they first engineer their way around local storage limits before they attempt to tame the chaos of global network coordination. For decades, the B-tree was the undisputed standard for database indexing. It organizes data into a searchable, hierarchical tree of pages residing directly on the disk. B-trees are highly optimized for read performance. Once you locate the data, you return it to the client. But this comes at the direct expense of write throughput. This diagram illustrates a traditional B-tree update. To modify a record, the database must navigate the tree, locate the specific data page at its original offset on the disk, and update it directly. This forces the storage drive to perform random reads and writes, crippling performance during heavy data ingestion. The solution to this I/O bottleneck is the log-structured merge tree, or LSM tree. It completely abandons the concept of in-place updates to prioritize pure write speed. In an LSM tree, data is only ever written sequentially to append-only files. Once a file is written to the disk, it becomes immutable. It is never modified again. This diagram shows the component structure of an LSM tree. Incoming data is buffered into a mutable memory-resident structure called the current memtable. Because this happens entirely in RAM, there is zero disk I/O cost. To guarantee durability, every update is simultaneously appended to a write-ahead log on the disk. When the current memtable reaches a specific size threshold, it switches to a flushing state, sequentially writing its sorted contents down to the disk to create a permanent, immutable flush table. Writing sequentially is fast, but it creates a strict consequence. Because files are never updated, modifying an existing record means writing a completely new version of it into a new file. Over time, redundant copies and fragmented records stack up across dozens of disk-resident tables. To reclaim space and keep read times manageable, LSM trees run a background maintenance process called compaction. The database periodically selects multiple tables, reads their sorted contents, and merges them together into a single combined file, discarding older shadowed records. Deletes are handled the exact same way. Instead of removing a record from memory, the system writes a dormant certificate, a tombstone, that explicitly instructs the compaction process to drop the shadowed value. LSM trees trade read efficiency for massive write throughput by weaponizing data immutability. They eliminate random disk seeks, allowing a single node to ingest millions of events per second without bottlenecking the hardware. But a single node is still a single point of failure. To guarantee availability, we have to replicate that local storage engine across multiple servers. When connecting nodes, engineers often fall victim to the fallacies of distributed computing. The most dangerous assumption is believing that the network is inherently reliable. In reality, switches break, queues fill up, and cables get disconnected. Remote processing is not instantaneous, bandwidth is strictly finite, and transport latency is never zero. Furthermore, the physical clocks inside separate servers drift apart at different rates. You cannot rely on raw timestamps to determine the strict global order of events across a cluster. The fundamental communication unit between two processes is the link. The most basic model is the fair loss link. Under this model, a message sent from one node to another can be delayed indefinitely or simply vanish in transit. Because the sender has no way of knowing if a dropped packet reached its destination, a fair loss link requires the sender to retransmit the message infinitely many times. A perfect link is a theoretical step up. It provides reliable delivery, guaranteeing that every message sent by a functioning process will eventually be delivered exactly once, utilizing acknowledgements and deduplication to prevent infinite retry loops. To predict how a system will behave, we have to establish its synchrony. A synchronous system model assumes that processes operate at comparable speeds and that message delivery has a strict mathematical upper time limit. True synchrony rarely exists, and in a purely asynchronous system, the FLP impossibility theorem states that consensus cannot be guaranteed. Without timing assumptions, a node that has crashed is mathematically indistinguishable from a node that is simply experiencing heavy network delay. Because pure synchrony is impossible and pure asynchrony prevents consensus, practical databases must operate under partial synchrony. They rely heavily on structured timeouts to navigate network failures. This brings us to the failure detector. A failure detector is a local subsystem responsible for identifying crashed or unreachable nodes, so the remaining cluster can exclude them and continue operating. Every failure detector balances two competing properties. Liveness is the guarantee that an actual crash will be successfully detected. Safety is the guarantee that the detector won't produce false positives by marking an active node as dead. The most basic approach uses periodic pings. A node sends a heartbeat message to a peer and waits for an acknowledgement within a strict timeout window. This diagram illustrates how strict timeouts prioritize liveness over safety. If an acknowledgement is delayed by simple network congestion, the requesting node prematurely marks a perfectly healthy peer as dead. To reduce false positives, protocols like SWIM use outsourced heartbeats. If a direct ping fails, the initiating node asks random peers to contact the suspected node through different network paths, decentralizing the detection responsibility and checking for localized link failures. Other systems abandon direct pinging entirely in favor of gossip-style protocols, which build a global view of the cluster without any centralized coordination. This chart shows 3 communicating processes using a gossip protocol. Each member maintains a list of heartbeat counters and timestamps for its peers. Periodically, each member increments its own counter and distributes its entire table to a random neighbor, which then merges the data. The cluster evaluates node health collectively. If a specific node's timestamp stops updating across the collective tables for a long enough period, as seen with node P3 here, the cluster considers it failed. There are even more aggressive models, like the fuse protocol. In fuse, if a single node disconnects, that node stops responding entirely, explicitly converting a local failure into a group failure to guarantee every member is uniformly aware of the partition. All of these methods treat failure as a binary state. A node is either up or down. The phi accrual failure detector takes a completely different approach. Instead of rigid timeouts, phi accrual collects the arrival times of recent heartbeats into a sliding window. It uses this historical data to calculate a normal distribution, determining the mean and variance of network latency over time. This allows the algorithm to output a continuous probability of failure. The suspicion level dynamically scales with the current network conditions, adapting to sudden congestion and drastically reducing false positives. Resilient distributed systems cannot rely on binary assumptions of truth. To safely navigate network chaos, they must continuously calculate the statistical probability of failure. Zooming out, we can finally see the unified architecture of a modern distributed database. At the local level, it abandons mutable in-place updates. By buffering writes in memory and executing log-structured merges to immutable files, it maximizes disk throughput. At the global level, it abandons the assumption of a perfectly shared state and accounts for the reality of fair loss links and asynchronous network transport. And for coordination, it replaces fragile binary timeouts with probabilistic, decentralized failure detection to maintain safety across the cluster. True horizontal scaling requires an architecture that treats instability as the default condition. It is an exercise in mathematically managing uncertainty. The modern cloud operates not because hardware is perfect, but because software expects failure at every layer and engineers the protocols required to bypass it.